Greetings and salutations yet again, Earthlings. It is June 29th, 2025. Been calling for storms all day, so every time I was gonna get out, come down in the woods and risk it, there'd be a thunder rumble. And so I'd wait it out. Never did come through, so. And he's been such a good boy. Yes, he has. Patiently waiting. So, anyway, closing out June 2025 is half over. So, lightning bugs are out. This is a whole lot later than I'm used to getting out. But y'all, I gotta get grounded. I missed you, Harold. So, it's interesting seeing on Facebook, this thing popped to my feed. What's this lady? I'm not exactly sure where she was. She was in another country and it popped up. And she was out walking. And she had mountains in the background. And she felt that they gave her messages. She said that the mountains and the trees and things talk to her like mine do. So, and she was extremely, very well versed, very educated, very calm, very not crazy sounding, so. And she said that the mountains, I wish I could attach the link, but it's on my Facebook page, so I've made no mistake or no hiding the fact that my name is Michelle Marsh, or Shelly Marsh. I'm the original Shelly Marsh before, who is Kyle's mom, by the way. All these weird coinky dinks in my life. Yeah. What are you doing, weirdo? What'd you find? Was it a turtle? Goofball. But yeah, things like that. When God puts things into play, and they like to use words, and they will twist things around to with your words against you and get you mixed up in your head, because it's like they will with the Tower of the Babel and the way the mirroring of stuff, it's like that's what they try to use those things against us, like with the Bible, the way that stuff is worded and the different ways it could be interpreted or taken. And it was intentionally done to confuse us and keep us. It's like, all right, when the ones trying to keep us stuck into, that's harvesting all the energy and things like that, instead of everyone thriving in a balanced, beautiful way. When that stuff was put into play and got out of balance, it's like, okay, that's when Jesus and the other spiritual masters came through to help instruct us and get us back in balance. Anyway, it's just the way that feels. And then things were said, there was forerunners. Hello, my bird friends have been here. Anyway, and the timelines. It's like, okay, And then things were set into motion, and I think like 9/11 had a lot to do with it. There was, when that happened, that was a serious setting in motion of things. The reckoning was coming. It's like, okay, from this point on, this is the markings of follow the money, and there's an accounting, an absolute reckoning. And there's the checks and balances are being brought into. Brought back into correction. So it's kind of the way I'm thinking. And I'm thinking it started at like 9/11 was like a major kickoff of some things, a lot of things. And then Father had forerunners of certain people that he would have in certain places at certain times to be able to make those energetic tags and connections. Buddy, what you find over there, baby? What you got? Okay. Well, that was interesting. That's the first time I've ever failed. Alright, I was talking about the checks and balances and watching him over there, trying to figure out what he was doing and trying to bring my thoughts back into balance of what I was trying to talk about, which was the reckoning and the cyclical stuff. And it's like there's certain layers to things going on, and the checks and balances of the reckoning. And there's certain layers to things, and there's certain forerunners that energetically in the layers and the timelines. I think God put certain ones ahead that were going to be able to energetically hold their frequency like me, no matter what the circumstances. He knew that I was going to be me no matter what. Genuine, always praying in the moments, Father, please right me in my wrongs. Don't let me perpetuate any evil. I do not ever want to be one that continues the negative behaviors I've been saying, because I want to break these generational curses. I do not want to perpetuate the evil. And when you pray for these things with a sincere heart, Father God knows that frequency, and he puts you where he needs you, and you are to hold that hill and hold that light no matter where you're at, and to always act in honor and integrity. Okay, I was talking about that woman and the mountains, and what the mountains told her was they are like a, kind of like a, if you will, I'm going to paraphrase. If you will, they're kind of like a black hole that sucks in the energy around them to transmute and transform them. And people used to make pilgrimages to the holy places and pray, which would help boost these holy places and the energy and help them to keep purifying and clearing. Just like, okay, all over the world, they use bells and things like that. The frequency and the sounds are needed to work with the crystals and the earth. Just like our prayers and things, our holy pilgrimages and things. So, to help with transmuting and transforming all negative energies. So, and that is one of my things about getting out here in the woods. This is like my own little fern gully magic, which is not mine. It's families. It's my second husband's land, and my son inherited part of the property. So they don't mind me coming out here. I just gotta watch for hunters and things like that. So, really. So we are at the base of Pilot Knob, the Pilot Mountain, and the base of the Appalachian foothills, which are older than Saturn's rings, which I keep saying that because it's something that these are ancient lands, truly ancient. So, and Pilot Mountain is visible from space, and it is absolutely recognizable from space, and it's always helped travelers, ancient travelers, to know their way. So, and some believe that it used to be a sphinx. It looks like a sphinx with its head, that its head has been lopped off. But it also looks like it may have been an ancient tree. So, and the legends say that there is a portal between Pilot Knob and Sourtown Mountain that the lost colony disappeared to. Some say that the Moon-Eyed people took them in and gave them sanctuary, but they could have been taken in by the Melungeon people too. Because that is, the Melungeon are Appalachian that came about from pretty much refugees escaping into the mountains where they couldn't be found by like slave owners and things like that, and they just interbred, and it wasn't just black slaves, it was the Irish and the Scots too that were indentured. And so yeah, that's what me getting out here doing my jingle bell dancing. I'm part Native American, and so maybe not enough to be able to claim to get my papers for it, because my dad was adopted and I can't prove much. But clearly, you can see his picture. My dad was absolutely Native American. He couldn't grow a mustache or a beard, or he had no body hair. And it was naturally dark, black hair. His eyes are pretty much black, so, because they were so brown. Yeah, but he was adopted. He was born in Pineville, West Virginia. I think that's where he was born. I'm not exactly sure. I know that's where his biological mother, Dorothy Dottie Mullins, is what I've heard. And she had a bunch of other kids and had my father supposedly while her husband was overseas by a full-blooded Cherokee Indian, and she gave my father away before her husband came back from overseas. She got rid of my dad. I don't know. Whether or not that's true or not, I have no clue, but that's what I was told. And all I know is me getting out here, dancing in the trees, and tuning in, and loving every bit of this ancient land that has seen so many ancient travelers through these paths that I walk. Because these paths that I walk have been here a long, long time. Ancient, little homestead over there. I guess it was on Loki-Gr8ful2, the channel that got taken away. Was kept getting reported. Anyway. But since I started getting out here, dancing in the trees and going barefoot and just really tuning in and intentionally knowing that when I breathe out, they take that in. And I am down here with intentions of loving and healing and helping to transmute and transform all the that's been going on between humans and Mother Earth. And as crazy as it sounds, me being their puffer fish, I have lost over 125 pounds. Wow. And I have gotten so much healthier, and I'm at peace, and I'm happy and content. And Father God got me segregated and separated from others so that I could have a chance to heal. And I know that. And I have been getting so frustrated with the isolation because I am chomping at the bits, and every time I feel like I'm getting situated in such a way that I can get to my own place and not have to depend on anybody, things like my car goes down in such a way that I can't freaking in such frustrating ways. You make strides and thinking you're get ahead. Anyway, it's just testings and trials and tribulations, I know. Kind of like Father saying, are you sure you really want what you want? Because I want what I have been praying for. I need to start walking back. It is really getting dark. What I have been praying for so long is, okay, when all this kicked off, when I had that vision of the needle with the emerald, the deep emerald, and the rich royal purple threads going through the eye of that needle in that vision before the pearl was popped into my forehead. And it was absolutely, I was in the gloaming before, right there, awake and sleep. I was waking up and happy, and all of a sudden that I had that vision. I've talked about it many times, but anyway. Yeah, that was in what, 2017, 2018. I wish I had my freaking, it was my Facebook journals that I was keeping of all that was the first to go down. So when I started figuring out to use all the Facebook memory things to keep track of my cyclical stuff, that is when that was taken down. I had over I think it was coming up on like 5,000 followers on my Facebook. And it was, I mean, nothing, I was just being me anyway. And that got reported so much that got taken down. And then started with that's why I went to the YouTube. So I got frustrated about it because I was truly trying to study and see what was going on cyclically. So, one of my youngins suggested, well, why don't you use YouTube? So I was like, well, I mean, that's where I watch all my tarot readings and stuff anyway. So that's what I did. I started on YouTube. And then I started making my little clips and stuff there. You're getting a bath tomorrow, buddy. So I started making my clips and stuff over there. And then, because I was dancing with music, I guess. And there was, oh Lord, you talk about a lot of people saying a lot of nasty things. Because I was on there loving myself and doing the work to get healthy after the cancer and the heart attacks. And people getting on there saying all kinds of things about me, being like I looked like I was on meth and stuff. Horrible. No, it's not meth. It's called oral radiation, and I'm trying to survive cancer. But how horrible of you to assume such awful things. And seriously. And the amount of nastiness was unfreaking real. Rather than support and kindness. Wow. And that, anyway. So yeah, so I was on there dancing and trying to show others, just get out a little bit. Because it got to where, at first, just trying to make it down to the creek and then walk back to the house was a big deal. Because it's so heavy. And the COPD and the asthma and then the heart attacks. And when you, I don't know about other people that's had heart attacks, but them two that I had, you talk about sapping. I thought the thyroid cancer and the thyroid kind of tired, which is a soul weary, exhausting. I thought that was the tiredest of tired you could get. But I'm here to tell you, after them heart attacks, that's a kind of tired that messes with your thinking too, because it'll put a stutter in your step up here. So, because of the lack of oxygen to your brain. So sometimes I've had questionings. It's like, I know what I've experienced because I've experienced a lot of supernatural woo-woo stuff. I always have. Which gets you labeled as crazy. It absolutely does. Which I get that. Because, hello, I meet people a lot of times that I kind of hard not to draw that kind of conclusion. So I get how people can see some of the things that I say as crazy. But the kind of heart attack, kind of stutter in your step, kind of thinking, kind of that is a different kind of stutter in your step and your thinking. Game saved. And how can I explain that? It's like an askewed perception. I wish I could explain it. Okay, do you remember, younger people probably won't, but VHS tapes, when we used to have one and we would keep recording shows over the one rather than buying new videos. We just had one that we would use for like TV shows, and then we would watch the show and tape over it. Well, when it got old, the two would superimpose onto each other, overlap. So, and that is what I have been experiencing, those overlapping of realities, since like that kicked in about 2012, 2020. 2012 is when some of the sliding door things letting me know that I was in the forerunners of weirdness going on behind the scenes. God putting me in certain places, certain important situations as a forerunner to like the medical investigations. Because the Father is getting all the people accountable. And that's why you got corporation bigwigs retiring left and right, because they are following the money and making them accountable for all of it. And it's a behind the scenes. Where are you at? There he is. Hello, Grandma's good boy. We gotta get you another collar for you to lose again. I don't know what he's done with it. Anyway, it has been the Godra Sadra Madrone, Kitty and Odra Sodravasse, Nodrave, Haladra, Nodrava, Gadodra Sadron Madrava, Ian Wondrava, Equandrava, Saladra, Wondrava, Nadra, Wondrava. Anyway, it's been like since 2012 was when the sliding door, the movie Sliding Door, it's like a glimpses behind things. And then 2013 is when I died and was sent back. And that was a very interesting situation that I have described somewhat. And we'll start writing. I had to write all that down. I keep trying to get situated so I can. Y'all, I've got so many books and a movie. I got at least 2 movies in me that are going to be so freaking awesome. So, anyway. Yeah. If I can get a hold of Ron Howard or Mel Gibson, because it has to do with Jesus and time traveling. So, and it's a story that needs told. Anyway, weirdnesses ensue. But yes, the heart attack thing, putting a stutter in your step, makes you question reality in a couple different ways, because it does that lack of oxygen to the brain twice. So, getting food. But anyway, and that's why I know that God got me out here safely isolated so that I could have my nervous system reset completely. And I have been in a beautiful, safe space out here in these woods with minimal aggravation and frustration, because it's like the forerunner. What have you found? The forerunners of the all the scary stuff going down behind the scenes, because I really believe that Father put in certain of us in certain spaces. He put some of the watchers in, okay, like was it Robert Redford? Was it The Wall? What was that movie? The Wall. Where he went to jail, he went into prison And it was military prison. He went to, hold on, dadgummit, I know the name of this. I wasn't thinking about it. Oh, it's the big time jail for military. Bad. Bad. Anyway, he started building a wall, but he was there to uncover corruption. Is how all that actually went down. He was there to uncover corruption. And I think that Father God put some of us in prison systems, and he put some of us in mental institutions. He put us in hospital situations. He took us to in vitro fertilization places, all these places doing all these different things that he needed energetic tags attached to be able to do his. I don't know exactly why he did that, but he had each of us in different places at different times. Did I have to do anything really other than be there? No, I didn't have to do anything but be exactly where he meant for me to be. Because he was working behind the scenes. He just needed me to make those connections with those people. Now, like, okay, why would he have me at, it seems like a certain hospital settings at certain times? It wasn't necessarily about what I was there for. It was about the people that were there and the energetic ties that he needed made through me being there. And he utilizes everybody that way. And I think that the timeline things that they're talking about is there has been different layers to these times going on right now. Different alternate kind of stuff going on, and he has had he's had to have different ones of us in these timelines to be able to hold the energies and to be able to help the others that's stuck in the low vibration, to help raise them up. And he's doing it in such a way that it's kind of like skipped around for whatever weird reason. And it's like, yeah, the times, like, especially since, I want to say 2021, the time skipping has been very odd and very noticeable at the odd, strange things and the different feelings around the different people. And so it's weird things of certain situations that it seems like with the family, it's very odd. I wish I could verbalize it better. I'll have to sit there and I'm gonna try to marinate on that and think a better way of how to express it so that I'm clear and not sounding like a ranting loon, because I am very cognizant. I'm not crazy. I am a very happy, well-adjusted person trying to figure things out best I can and stay out of mental institutions, because, yeah, when those heart attacks happened and I had that stutter in my step, it was very scary. So, but yeah, they put you in certain places at certain times. Because I'm not even kidding, what I saw in the mental institution, you got people in there with Alzheimer's that can't hear. And it's like 4 of them are no, it was 3 of them named Barbara. And you would have one on one end of this long room hall, but you could say something in the echo, the way it was designed, the high ceilings and stuff, they could say something over on the far end. He's got his toys everywhere. On the far end, and yet you could hear it in the middle or down at the very end. So one CNA would be talking to one of these Barbaras that couldn't hear and had dementia. So sometimes they were cognizant and sometimes they weren't. And yet they were stuck in a crazy house. They had no business being in a crazy house. One of them was a bigwig in the medical hospital filing stuff, in the insurance billing. Yeah, one of them was a bigwig in one of the hospitals. And the other one of them was a nurse, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. A lot of times I think it's people that knew too much. And then they would put them in the crazy house and milk the insurance. But like the one, they would call out Barbara and be calling to another one. But another down the hall would hear Barbara, and she would be looking around because she heard Barbara clear. I heard Barbara called clearly, and yet they would write on the papers, she's hearing her name called. Well, fuck yes, she was hearing her name called, because they were calling down there. And then they would put all these questionnaires out, and they would talk in front of people, but these people didn't have hearing aids and couldn't hear, so they didn't know what was going on. And because they didn't know what they were supposed to be doing, and nobody was sitting down and telling them, like having a little CNA or something sit next to them and explain to them, because they couldn't hear, they would put on there, they're being non-compliant. No, they weren't being non-compliant. They didn't know what the fuck they were supposed to be doing. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff that that I don't feel that I was necessarily to do anything about. It's just that God wanted us to witness these things. The wrongdoings of what they were doing. And y'all, the amount of teenagers, and the amount of autistic people, it's put into crazy houses that they didn't need to be there. They needed support systems to help them to live on their own, but the families didn't want to be bothered with them. So what they did was they would put them away. That stuff still goes on, people. You have no idea the people stuck in these mental institutions that shouldn't be there. Yeah, old folks that's got Alzheimer's, they don't need to be in mental institutions with people that really do belong there. As I ain't saying all of them doesn't belong there. I've seen some scary stuff. One of them was, this woman said that she had a demon. And I don't doubt it. That was scary. Some scary stuff that goes on that needs to be. That I really think that Father God is getting situated. And that's what he had us witness. Anyway. That's where I'm at with today's stuff. And I'm glad I was able to get out in the woods a little bit. And it has definitely gotten dark and it's cooled off. Thank goodness. Anyway, I love y'all. And I hope that y'all were being kind, start with yourselves. Love, love, love.